Team, a program committed to deliver information that's important to you and your community. Your hosts are Nathaniel and Patricia Gadsden.
Hello and welcome again to Life Esteem. Always great to have you as a viewer, and I always say it, always mean it. Hey, today we're going to talk to Joe Green, who's a life coach and has a great physical fitness facility in Harrisburg. And Pat goes, I know. I'm a former alumni. But anyhow, but I may be back, Joe. But anyhow,
Good.
But welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right. I understand you got a lot of things going on. Tell us about your practice and some of the things that the two of you are cooking up.
Absolutely. You know, we have a fitness and wellness facility that deals with fitness for special populations as well as the everyday person. A great emphasis on women as well. And we also work with athletes. Okay. And then there was a natural progression that basically took place. We found that there was a real true blend of relationship building. We do a lot of that. And so that's where the life coaching really began. And that became a segment and a very important part. And we found that through talking to our members and asking them what they thought about our business, that some of the real attributes that go into that particular segment were occurring. And so we decided to expand on that.
Fantastic. We just had on our family physician, Dr. Claudette Jaddo, and she was talking about lifestyle changes and this kind of thing. Of course, exercise and all that was a big part of it. More and more people finding you in the industry itself in terms of getting into the gyms and working out, that kind of thing. Do you see an upswing, or is it, you know?
Absolutely. Okay. There's a real upswing. In fact, Dr. Jaddo is one of those physicians that we're looking to network with. Oh, okay. Physicians such as that are taking a deeper interest in the person. Our message has always been about getting fit from the inside out, and part of that inside out involves not only getting fit physically, but also mentally, emotionally, even spiritually. Right. So we're addressing different issues, and by doing that, we find that that's where that coaching piece comes in. It's truly on the upswing. It's showing that across the country, coaching is becoming more and more important to people, and they are indeed seeking it out. I think people need help.
And you know, interesting enough, because we've had many conversations around this topic and area, is that I just appreciate again how you talked about the physical, the emotional, okay, mental, and the spiritual aspect of that as well. And so often we tend to hone in on one or two, but not all.
Right.
And so what you're looking to do is a very more holistic approach.
Right. Right. I think when we spoke a few years ago, I had mentioned that that's just it. We're trying to address everything, the whole entire package. And in doing that, we found that that's the exact recipe for success, is that you have to address everything. It can't just be parts. So even in goal setting and things like that. And so that's where that life coaching piece really came in, because we're helping folks discover how to set goals, what goals are healthy for them, how to establish healthy boundaries, how to make choices and decisions that are healthy for them and for those that are in their lives that are also with them. So it is addressing all aspects. And so in going through the experience of getting fit, there's also another journey taking place, which is really discovering who you are. And we do a segment where we take folks through an exercise where we help them determine what they want versus what they need. Two very different things, but a really, really rewarding exercise.
I did a book. It's actually a guided journal years ago, and just revised it in 2013. And it's called literally Learning Self-Therapy Through Writing. And it's about, you know, journaling, and but it has all these different aspects, and so it challenges you. And so I'm going to have to introduce that to you, because I don't know if you've ever seen it or whatever, but as you were talking, it made me think, well, this is kind of stuff we've been trying to do for a long time.
Absolutely.
But yeah, people have to, you know, reflect and to, you know, sit back and really take a real good look at themselves and see where they're going. And that's not easy. That's very difficult at times, isn't it?
There's no question. You know, through self-evolution, there's a growth process, and sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's challenging. Sometimes you're discovering things that you didn't know, and so there's a lot on the plate. But again, very, very rewarding, and I find that that's what really lends itself to the sustainability of the success that you finally achieve.
Fantastic. So a person comes to you. What is their? Walk us through the steps of what they should expect. You know, as a life coach. You know, I come in. I'm not sure where I want to go with any of this. I'm
Right,
like, man,
right.
you know, how do you start them off?
Right. The way we start off is we start off with an initial consultation, which is a meeting, in order to sit down and discuss where they're at. In other words, I like to find out about them. So each person kind of gets to do like that kind of 60-minute story about themselves. And we certainly don't curtail it to 60 minutes, but we ask a series of questions that really help them produce the kind of answers and begin to paint a picture that establishes what they may be seeking and also discovering what they may need going forward. So that's precisely where we start. From that point forward, we take it from there.
Do you have probably scenarios where there may be one area of that living a balanced, life that needs more attention than maybe another aspect of it? Let's talk about the physical realm to begin with. Okay, you're a physical fitness coach as well.
Right.
And so as a result of that, they may need to really consider, and maybe haven't done much in understanding the physical workout, doing some things that are going to be able to be more satisfying and fulfilling. Has that occurred?
Absolutely. And the whole object is to gently guide them towards their goals and to discovering what the process may be for them, but discovering what is right for them. We still have that dedication towards making sure that we're customizing this experience for each and every person. So there's no question we want to find out what their needs are, and that's where the want versus need exercise comes in. So when we do that, that kind of gives us an inventory list of wants and needs, and then we can begin to go from there.
What is the name of your company, your physical fitness?
Absolutely. The fitness business is Fit for You.
Okay.
The actual life coaching segment that's coming out of this is I'm Ready for Change.
Oh, okay.
And has its own dedicated website.
Oh, okay, good. I'm ready for change.
Absolutely.
All right, very
Yeah.
good. And that's two separate entities. So a person can come to you for the life coaching or the physical fitness or
Right.
both.
Right.
Wow.
Yes. While they do overlap, this also exists on its own. And in fact, I've spoken with Pat
Yes.
a great deal about workshops and things like that we can begin to put out to the community so that they're aware of it, so that we can begin to help people with this facet. Some folks truly will benefit by starting at this point long before they start with fitness or nutrition.
Okay, makes sense. And Pat, I know you have some workshops coming up called Purposeful Living.
Yeah, one of the things too that kind of, in some ways, is similar and kind of connects with that whole Ready for Change is the Purposeful Living gatherings. And with the Purposeful Living gatherings, what would happen is initially we're having information sessions to try to prepare people to prepare for change, all right? And then look at those specific areas that they may want to address. And we're actually having another information session on March 22nd from 6 to 8 p.m. over at the Pennsylvania Council of Churches. So if anybody wants to come out and just get some sense and maybe determine and identify their wants and needs and then be able to move to that next level, we're going to be able to do that as well. Jason Moffett, which some people may or may not know, is going to help with that process of moving people where they need to see themselves going. Because what Joe and I want to do is offer different, I could say, menu and such type of sessions that can address people based on their need, what they see is important to them. And it's interesting we're talking about this because what so often I'm seeing happen, and now Joe sees it in his business as well, there are a lot of people are kind of at a standstill in their lives right now, and they're really not quite sure as to what's the next chapter in my life. What do I need to now look at and do? And they're trying to determine venues or ways or opportunities. So here is that way and manner to do that, because depending if you're 18 or 118, you still have needs. You still have things you want to attain, to achieve, to feel fulfilled. And that's what I think we're really looking to do.
Absolutely. We're just trying to create an environment that demonstrates trust, that has an emphasis on building relationships and walking slowly, but having someone to do that with. And Pat and I have really gotten excited about talking about this when we brainstorm about it. we call them conversations. We
Yes.
want to invite people to have conversations. My philosophy with the life business is that at least one person in your life should know your story, and you should be able to share that in confidence. And I think that's a tremendous gift, and if someone can have that opportunity, that's great.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Pat and I have, actually been into the coaching aspect for a little while, and haven't, we've done a lot of other things as well, that kind of thing. But we know it works, and there are people who seek out coaches all the time. Here in Central Pennsylvania, has that caught on as big, or is it something that you think is sort of fertile ground?
I think that it's very fertile ground. I think it is alive and well.
Okay.
I think it's in existence. I know that folks are aware of it, and I think they pretty much understand what it is. I think that the key is, and Pat and I have talked about this, they just don't know where to get it.
Exactly.
They're not sure where it's at. They're not sure the right place to go. And so part of our mission as a team on this is that we want to not only promote the message, but we want to let them know, where can I go? Where can I get the tools? And where can I gain this valuable experience to really help myself?
That's good stuff, yeah.
Interesting enough, I just recently, and I haven't even had a chance to share this with Joe or with you, Nate, I came across this little book. It's a very little book. I mean, you could read it in about 20 minutes. And I was actually looking for another book, and this one caught my attention, and it was called One Word.
I saw it.
You saw it.
Yeah.
And the One Word is a really fascinating, experience, is that how it talks about how we make, especially in the new year, we just here in the third month of the year right now, but most people on January 1 always come up with their what? New Year's
Resolution.
Right.
resolution. And probably about the second week of January, and definitely by the end of January, that's what? It is not being fulfilled or
That's
met,
right.
or they move on in some
Right.
way.
Right.
And the thing I liked about the one word approach is that you should every year come up with one word that really sets the tone for the rest of your year. And that word should be available as much and everywhere and in everything that you're doing. And they say how powerful that whole concept is, and it really caught my attention, is that what is that one word? What would that look like? And they have families that have done this, they've had football teams that have done this, they've had schools, they've had all these various organizations and individuals, institutions, and looking at that one word. And that made me consider, because it's not prescribed as I'm going to lose 30 pounds by the end of the month.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So your word could be healthy. Okay, and that's the word that you focus in all year long. It's just healthy.
See, that's what I mean. I
Yeah.
think that, this is what we're seeing. There's different
Yeah.
recipes
Yes.
for the same end. And,
Exactly.
with us, we're saying that everyone should have a personal mission statement.
Yes.
And if you don't have one, we'll help you develop one. What do you stand for?
Yes.
Revisit your constitution. In other words, what is it? What do you stand for? What do you believe in?
Yeah.
And a lot of folks haven't visited this in a long time. So these books,
Yes.
our message,
Yes.
and things like that are great. And we just want to make sure that the folks in the Susquehanna Valley and Central Pennsylvania abroad have that opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they have
Yeah,
that.
like you said, you're equipping them, giving them the tools and everything. That one word concept is interesting, because my brother and I had a conversation a couple years back, and the word was completion. We just simply said we have all these projects, but we want to make sure we start completing these projects, whether it be a book project or a play or whatever we're trying to do. And if at the end of the year you look back and say, I didn't complete that.
Right.
Okay, you understand that's still something to be completed.
Right.
But completion has to be, the end of the day. So that's kind of the way we handled that, without even having seen that book. But that was the one word. I remember my brother saying, the one word I'm going to work on is completion, and that's what we started talking about, And
Well,
every time we
young
talk-
and old can benefit.
Absolutely.
And that's
Yeah.
the nice. We have I have an outreach program that I've started, and it's for kids that are still in high school. And so right now we have a couple athletes that are involved in that, and have been over the years past. And so this benefits everyone.
Good.
There's
Good
no one that
stuff.
can't benefit, as you two well know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mentoring is another form of coaching, but
Yeah, really.
it's good stuff.
It's good stuff, absolutely, yeah. And so as you roll this out, it's something that's already going on now. You want people to begin to, you have open house or something coming up, or how can people get in touch with you and get on board with something like this?
Absolutely. There's a couple of facets to that. Pat and I are creating a workshop called the Healthy Living Balance
Nice.
Workshop, which we're excited about, and we'd like to get out in the spring. So we're working on that. The other piece is the website that's now available, which
Okay.
is I'm Ready, #4 Change. So that's a website that's up and running, and people can go and research and find out more about these workshops and different ways to get in touch. Otherwise, other than going to the website, which has all the contact information, they're always free to send an email to me personally.
You know, I noticed the latest issue of Ebony magazine has T.D. Jakes on the front cover, at least one of the issues, because now they have these different people in the same cover, same issue, I mean. But there's a whole segment in there about a lot of what we're talking about today.
Yeah, I saw that when I
healthy
came in.
living and changing your life and this kind of thing. And it's good stuff, you know. I mean, it's not just T.D. Jakes, there's other people as well. But we really have to consider, you know, that we can either get stuck, you know, stay in the rut or try to move forward, you know.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people, like you said, they just don't know where to turn. They want to do something, but they don't know really where to go. Right. And so that's, I guess that's what you're trying to, you know, in terms of the offering and everything. Good stuff, yeah. Now, how about ages? I mean, we starting with high school kids, only adults? How does this work?
Right. This is something that, in looking at my business, the fitness side, we've already seen the populations that seem to really gravitate to this and whom it can benefit. So we know that the teenage population works well with it.
Okay.
We've seen mostly athletes doing it, but it's certainly not relegated to just athletes. And then we've seen both men and women. And so really it's abroad, so it's anywhere from teenage years and on. I think it's the way to qualify it is it's anyone who's searching and anyone who is interested in self-evolution, personal growth, looking for something more, something better for themselves. They are the beneficiary of it and should certainly seek it out.
You know, it's funny, Jonathan Queen, Jonathan Z. Queen, who is a best-selling author and also a minister, youth minister, and this kind of thing. He's done tremendous work. He's specifically looking at the population that has entered into the system, the prison system, and is now trying to get their lives back together. They don't know how to go about it. And he wrote this book called Are You Sane? And SANE stands for Setting a New Example. And he's doing a video now, and at the end of it, he asks you to say your name and then say, I am sane. And so it's setting a new example, and it's really cool. But when you really break down what the book is all about, it's a lot of what you're talking about now. You know, maybe for a different population, maybe the same population, you know. But it's basically saying, are you setting a new example? You know, and that starts with you, right?
Absolutely.
It really
That's right.
does. So it's
That's right.
pretty powerful stuff. So some good stuff out there, man. Good stuff
Absolutely.
out there. What are the biggest roadblocks people face in terms of wanting to come? They hear this, it sounds great, they get fired up. But then all of a sudden life steps in, right?
Right.
So what are the roadblocks that people need to address right now so that they can actually clear that off, knock that out the way, and come on and get involved with this? With your
Absolutely.
workshop?
I think one of the roadblocks is realizing what the first occurrence will be in helping you, which is motivation. So the first roadblock is getting motivated. A lot of folks feel like what you said, Nate, stuck, you know, and so they think, well, I can't do it yet, or maybe tomorrow, or absolutely fear. Fear is a big one, you know, and so
Very big
we
one.
tried to really help educate people, and so that site will do a lot to help educate people. It's not geared towards selling anyone. It's geared towards people understanding, how can I get started? Why should I get started? Is what's in this for me? Because it is about them. It's about focusing on them and giving them the time and attention that they need, and then helping them give that to themselves. For instance, you've got mothers, you know, who have lost those boundary lines, and they're not drawn any longer, and they give away their time and everything else, and there's nothing really left for them. And to help someone reestablish that, for that person, it could be a scary thought to think that they would do that, and they would approach that. So I think the first step is getting motivated. The second step is taking that initial step, having the courage to do it. We can merely put the information out there and let them know that it's available, and then the rest is, it's going to be up to them.
Yeah, okay, good stuff.
And as Joe said, I know it's about fear, but in order to grow and move forth, we have to face those fears, okay? And we have to take risks. We have to take healthy risks. And that risk is moving forth and getting in touch with and in front of those people that can allow that to happen for you.
Well, someone might ask, you say fear, what, fear of failure? Fear of what? What would it be fear of?
Absolutely. I think the number one thing is fear of change.
That's it.
What's familiar is comfortable, and what's new or unknown usually represents fear in most folks' mind. So what we have to do is really help them get that momentum, and at least give them the opportunity. That's really all we can do, is present the opportunity. And if it feels right and you're willing to give it a chance, then you could discover something that's really beneficial.
The other thing we talk about is, you know, wanting to do it, right? But they always say, I don't have time.
Right.
And so that means that you probably need to unclutter yourself, right? There's something you probably just need to get rid of. And a lot of times people are just, they can't, you know, they just can't see themselves doing that.
Right.
So how do you address that issue of I don't have time?
Again, it's great to see, because the things that you're mentioning are all the things that the coaching addresses. You know, helping you be a better time manager, helping you manage emotions, helping you manage feelings. So these challenges are the exact things that let you know, I belong here, I'm in the right place, and I could really use some help. I think the biggest thing is that we've got to get folks on the page where they have just a little bit of humility, and they can do it in private. It's completely confidential, but be willing to say, you know what, I could use some help.
Okay.
I could really use some help. So we can help you. We can give you the support. We can give you the focus. We can help you repurpose and really help you move forward.
I like that, repurpose.
Repurpose.
That's
I like that
yeah,
too.
I like that too. Well, yeah. And now, of course, there's the other bugaboo. People say, I can't afford it. So, you know, can I afford it? That's the
You
big question.
absolutely can, and I think you say to the folks, you know, you can't afford not to. An investment in yourself is the most worthwhile investment that you can possibly make. And I think what has to happen is you have to discover that you're in the category where you have a need and not a want. If it's something you need, then you're going to do what it takes to get hold of that. But in discovering that, the best thing to do is to, you know, at least get in there and at least have that conversation. Find out if it's right for you, if it's something that you do believe that you need, and if it is, you can always take it from there, and you'd be surprised what you discover you can really afford if you discover it's something that you need.
And I agree wholeheartedly with Joe in that last statement, and if you discover something you need, because in most of us, we use money based on what we find is exciting or necessary or effective for us. And if you want to invest in yourself and you're really committed to that, you're going to find a way to make that occur or happen.
Sure.
We talk about, unfortunately, we see a number of folks on Sunday mornings on our way to church standing in front of the sneaker store, waiting for the most recent sneaker to come out. And most of those cost, what, a couple of $100, some of these brand names, new sneakers. And they're investing in a shoe for their foot, okay?
Right, right.
But can they take that same investment for their mind and their soul and be able to move forth and do something in their life?
You know, it's so interesting that you mentioned this, because there's a great article once again in Ebony. Ebony's like the Bible of information.
For you.
I may not read scholarly journals, but I read Ebony.
Ebony says.
And they have this article in there called Sneakerheads. And it shows all these guys, and not most of them famous, of course, they have thousands of sneakers that they buy. But they represent a huge population of young people who have grown up that way. They've bought all these sneakers. It's unbelievable, you know. So how do you address the, you know, a person like that? And they now have to almost wean themselves off of that obsession,
Right.
you know. But we see them line up. It's not every Sunday, but a lot of Sundays, and it's Sunday. I don't know if the store is open on a Sunday, but they get these tickets, I understand, or something like that in order to buy the latest sneaker. And it's like, wow. So that money is being invested in that, but would they really invest in their health? You know, it's just amazing. Wow. Yeah. So,
Again, you know, discovering what you need versus
Right.
what you want is a very fruitful exercise. But, you know, if we're just taking that question head on, is it affordable? Sure. You could attend one of these workshops, and I think anyone can afford it. If you have 2 cars in your driveway, you'll definitely be able to afford coming to the workshop, even one. The workshop simply makes it that way, and Pat and I have gone to great lengths to make sure that it's available,
that it's reasonable,
because
and,
the intent is to be able to reach out and make sure we're helping folks. But you have to have skin in the game. You have to invest something in yourself in order for it to be rewarding to you.
sure. Where would it be held? The workshops be held? Is that still in
You know, the venues for the workshops they're to be determined. We're willing to, you know, hold the workshops in a couple different locations. However, the current at 3301 Schoolhouse Lane, the studio where we have our fitness, we actually have a dedicated space to that where we can do the coaching. And we've spoken about some other venues.
Yeah, also we have the opportunity to Pennsylvania Council of Churches at 900 South Arlington
Right.
as well. So as soon as those things are ready, and Joe and I are we're in the process of working on that very first session that will be definitely held this spring. So that information will be on the website.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, the website address.
Is I am ready, number 4, change.com.
I'm ready for change, man. Good stuff, good stuff. But you know, there's so many people who are probably beating themselves up because of all that they've done to themselves, whether it's been excess drinking, overeating, you know, just the kind of living that we've done has been destructive, you know. And now they think, I want to go, but I, you know. And so you already addressed the motivation is to overcome that fear or that guilt, because it's another word that might be, you know, banged around a little bit here. And sometimes we do feel guilty. Or have that person in our life that's like a naysayer. Right. You know, why are you going to do that? What did you spend that money for? You know, that kind of thing. Yeah. So all those things have to be addressed, and then you have to, you know, look at, you know, getting them out there and everything. But the point is, you're there for them as well, right?
Yeah, and I think once they get there, you know, that initial consultation is so important because you can feel the energy, you know, and, you know, when you feel safe and you feel as though you can have the conversation you want to have and you can connect, connections are big. When you feel those things fall into place, then I think those other things begin to slowly melt away.
Good stuff, great, great. Again, Pat, the Purposeful Living workshops that you're doing?
Purposeful Living Gatherings. Okay, is actually the very information session will be on March 22nd. And it'll be at Pennsylvania Council for Churches from 6 to 8 p.m. And we're looking for folks to come out because we're hoping these folks we're going to take to our spring workshop and really get into some more depth in regard to finding those areas that they need to move forward and invest in themselves.
Very good stuff, good stuff. And I do want to mention also, a little bit off the topic in a sense, but it's sort of the same level. Michael Sand, who's an excellent, you know, fundraiser, attorney, community activist, and myself are, you know, developing what's called the Diversity Academy. And we're literally just working on you know, once a month kind of series where people can come in and really talk about issues around, you know, having a more inclusive community where we are more accepting of, tolerant of, you know, loving of one another. And, you know, we have all these false barriers that we set up for all different reasons, and we want to address those things. And Pat, through the Camp Curtin, I don't mean to hit your name, aren't you? Through the YWCA, just completed a series called
Let's Talk, a Conversation on Race.
Conversation on Race. And you had about, what, 20-something
26 people, community leaders and people that really started this process.
Yeah, and that's good stuff. And so that's the start of the process. And I know that a few people I work with actually went through it, and they were saying how great it was and how impactful it was. But all this kind of ties in because, you know, when we have to have a healthy outlook on life, we have to have a healthy outlook on others as well. Joe, we're running out of time, man, but it's really good. Give us a number or something if people wanted to reach you and know more about your fitness. And
Absolutely. You can reach me at area code 717-579-8257. You can call that number absolutely anytime if you get the message. Leave a message, and you're always a priority, so we'll get back to you right away.
Ready for Change?
I'm Ready for Change is the website.
I'm Ready for Change.
Email is joe@phyt4u.com.
And the name of your fitness workout?
The name of the workout is Fit for You by Joe Green.
Okay. Like I said, I've been to a couple sessions. It's great. He almost killed me.
We're currently looking for Nate.
He's really good. You know, check Joe out. His staff is great as well. And I look forward to seeing you next time here on Life Esteem. Hope you have yourself a blessed day. Goodbye.